Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Marissa. I will be your moderator for this morning's session. And we're just going to give a couple minutes to allow everyone in. So in the meantime, I'll just go ahead and start with the opening slides. Again, welcome to Google Camp, which is taking place between today and tomorrow. Please be sure to connect with us on social media, on Twitter, and also hashtag IE Google Camp. And if you happen to run into any problems or technical support issues during the session, please feel free to reference back to the help desk. Or if you have any further issues, please feel free to post that in the chat room and we will assist you as soon as possible. And the title of this session is What's New from Google for Education? Thomas?
Hey.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, Marissa, I'm trying to join from my corp computer. Are you able to allow me in again?
You're coming in clear through your current device. Do you need to switch again?
Well, if you're able to let me, I'm for some reason not able to join on my other. Well, let's just wing it. We'll go with this one. Hey, everybody. Gotcha. Did you get to do an intro? You had plenty of time with me running late.
I did, yes, sir. I just did the intro. I'm going to go ahead and switch over the. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. You guys will get some sanity on the back end. You guys able to see this okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, sorry for the technical issues. A classic Google guy would be have technical issues on the back end. For some reason, Google is always tricky with handling Zoom. I wonder why. Hope you all are having a good day. I know it's been a crazy couple of months. I love coming to this event live every year, and I'm sorry that we can't all be together in person, but I am going to kind of give you some sneak peeks as to what to expect in the future from Google for Education and things that we've launched recently too. So I think Marissa might have said this, but feel free to chime in with any questions you all have, and I'll make sure I try to get to them, and I'll try to save some time at the end if we're able to answer any questions live. Cool. So really quick, my name's TD. Been with Google for Education for a little over 3 years now. It's my little nugget, Rivers. And yeah, really came from the classroom, was a teacher in Chicago before any of this stuff came out, and was super jealous when it came out. So I wanted to go around and talk to people about how to improve their classrooms using technology. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. Really quick caveat to all this is that feedback's incredibly important to Google. You guys have seen it before, probably with the Meet features launching over the last couple months. Just keep your feedback coming. It really helps us become better and directly informs the product roadmap. And I'm going to give you some opportunities to chime in today, actually, with those. So really quick, I guess it's the future now since we're in a global pandemic and we're all learning from our computers. So a lot has changed in the last couple of months very quickly. And we've really had to pivot really quickly. So instead of learning like this, we're now all learning like this. And this is actually one of my colleagues' sons teaching himself how to code. So yeah, learning has changed quite a bit. The modalities in which we learn, The methods by which we learn, the way we engage students have changed very quickly and very drastically over a very short period of time. This is from the director of UNESCO. Never before have we witnessed educational disruption at this scale. Yes, it's crazy, it's terrifying, but it's also pretty awesome. It yields a lot of opportunities for us all to figure out new ways to get through to students and new ways to engage students in a way that we haven't before. So really quick, high level insights, just everyone is learning on the go, right? And there's a couple different communities that are involved in this, obviously teachers, obviously school leaders, obviously students, and then the community at large, parents, guardians, having to figure out how to help students learn while they're either trying to work at home or they're trying to just manage the home on their own. And I surveyed a bunch of school leaders that I work with in California, about 300 folks, and these were some of the words that came to mind throughout the last couple of months. As you can see, a lot of like very positive things to say about what this last couple of months have been. It's also been pretty crazy and pretty mind-bending in a lot of ways, but there is a lot of good stuff coming along the way because of the challenges that we're facing. So I like to frame kind of all of this in like, what is this all for? Like, what are the kids, like, what are the kids getting out of all the energy and all the innovation that we're putting into learning? And it goes back to the study we did with The Economist a couple of years ago about what is it that employers are actually looking for at the end of the day. And so we surveyed some of the top companies in the world and asked, what are the top features or skills that you look for when you're hiring new people? And unsurprisingly, it's the 4 C's. So at the top of the list is problem solving, teamwork, communications, critical thinking, creativity. It's the ability to kind of adapt and work well on the fly. We all know this from teaching. No one comes and hands you a beautiful curriculum for you to just magically teach that on your own. You have to problem solve. You have to rejigger it, figure out how it fits into your larger plan, scope and sequence, how to assess. So we really think this is a huge opportunity for kids to learn how to better prepare themselves for the workforce, better prepare themselves to be learners on the go in an ever-changing world. I'm going to skip the next couple of slides just for the sake of time. Trying to find my phone. And kind of get to the meat, which is what are some new things that you can expect out of Google for Education over the next, available now and then over the next couple of months. So really quick, this is kind of a self-plug here. I started a very rinky-dink website called gfewithtd.com. And essentially what that website is, it's just a bunch of resources for teachers and IT admins and parents. So feel free to visit that site. It has a lot of good stuff, helpful resources, including things that we don't often go big and launch externally, just resources that I've come across online. And then also like help center articles, really good trainings, one-pagers that you can share with your community. So be sure to check that out, gfewithtd.com. I also, for some reason, my bit.ly links aren't coming up, but if you want to follow along, the bit.ly link is just RCOE new Goog, G-O-O-G. I don't know if Marissa, you can plug that into the chat. It's just bit.ly/RCOE new Goog, G-O-O-G. I don't know why they're not showing up on my slides.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, it's bit.ly RCOE new Goog, G-O-O-G.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So it's kind of funny timing because we're about to have this really massive global event. It's called a Follow the Moon event or Follow the Sun event, where the event's actually a 24-hour event and literally goes across the globe throughout the day. And we're going to have a ton of different keynotes, product launch updates, from our product managers, and then also testimonials from teachers and school leaders. So that is, I think it's actually this next week, next Wednesday. You can register right now. And as part of registering, you'll get the invite to the actual live stream that happens, but you'll also get a recording of that live stream if you want to check that out afterwards, and just a highlight of all the different product launches that are coming, some of which I'll touch on today. If I were in a classroom right now, I'd say, raise your hand if you use Google Classroom. And I bet I'd see a lot of hands. So Google Classroom has been insane over the last 6 months because everyone has moved to distance learning. And so we are actively developing the roadmap for the year ahead. And the team is asking for suggestions on where they can invest all of their time and efforts. So if you're interested in helping develop that roadmap a bit more and help them pick their darlings, if you will, please click on that survey. It'll take you to a fairly complex survey that has you pick things that you think would be most impactful in classroom, and then actually has you stack rank them. It's actually a pretty tricky survey. And it just helps us prioritize what things the product team should be focused on in the next 6 months or so. So just an opportunity for you to plug your feedback directly in for the Google team to read. I will mention there are some pretty exciting features coming to Classroom that we'll be announcing at that event. I can hint that one of them has to do with analytics solutions, plugging with some of our data tools, as well as some ways to more easily share content with distance through distance learning. That's about as that's as much as I can say without giving it away. Hopefully some of you are level 1 or level 2 certified. We're actually running free workshops for folks who are interested in becoming Google certified trainers. So this is an online workshop series that you can sign up for. Essentially, it's to prepare yourself to become a Google certified trainer. So there's a link in that one-pager information. You can find all the information there, as well as the application. I believe we're actually accepting quite a bit of people because it's done virtually, but we've seen an unprecedented amount of people that have become trainers in the last 6 months as a result of COVID. So it's a really great time to upskill and get the latest, greatest training from Google for Education and become a part of the trainer community. Just a couple different resources. There are some amazing things that people are building. These are two that I've come across in my work. So we have our GEGs, or our Google Educator Groups, and someone started an amazing global GEG from all over the world. And so you can find an amazing resource that the folks have put together that's a boot camp. And essentially it has different days broken down by different products and different skills that you would want to use. Incredibly helpful as you're kind of like refreshing to get ready for school, or if you're leading PD, or frankly, if you just want to, do some practice as school's about to start. So check that resource out. It's pretty fantastic. It's also a really fun group that goes pretty heavy on the Bitmojis. Another resource that I wanted to share is we do a series of trainings called Thrive with 5. And essentially it breaks down the 5 different essential G Suite apps and how to use them effectively in the classroom. This is more for folks who are beginning to use G Suite. And there are some kind of mid-level pieces in there that are helpful, but it's really effective because it breaks it down by the different 5 core apps: Meet, Classroom, Docs, Forms, and Sites and Slides. So worth checking out. There's also a whole series of these trainings called EDU on Air, and it has everything from social emotional learning training for students and teachers to discussing equity and inclusion in the classroom, all kinds of stuff. Sorry, wanted to pause because I think maybe someone had a question. Or maybe it was a mistake unmute.
Might have been background noise.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm going quickly too to try to catch up. So feel free to jump in. I won't be offended at all. Another new program that we've just launched. So I've talked about level 1, level 2, certified trainer, and then of course there's the innovator, Google certified innovator program. We're actually hosting our first virtual innovator summit coming up. We just launched the Google for Education certified coaching program, which is really cool. It is kind of a spin-off of the dynamic learning project for any folks who are aware of that. Essentially, it's a free training and certification for any folks who are looking to train other educators on tools for distance learning using G Suite. We've gotten tremendous feedback on our pilot that it was really effective in helping teachers drive student engagement and student success compared to folks who didn't go through the training. So just wanted to plug this because it's brand spanking new. It's completely free, and we're getting really good feedback on this program. So sign up today. It's supposed to be amazing.
Quick question relating to that. Can teachers get a student view on Google Classroom yet?
Oh, not yet. Not yet. That is at the top of the roadmap, however. The Teacher Center. So the Teacher Center is a place where you can get all sorts of training, literally by product area, by product itself, or by level of how advanced you'd like to go. We just did a refresh of the actual site itself, so it's much easier to navigate. It has all new content. There's also a bunch of first day trainings that are product specific. So if you're new to using something like Jamboard, or you're new to using something like New Sites, for example, there are first day of trainings that you can leverage and access that are extremely helpful. So check out the new Teacher Center. It's just a g.co/Teacher Center. It looks great and it's super easy to use. Also is where all of our certification programs are housed. We've also partnered with The Conscious Kid. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that company, but we've invested a ton into conversations around equity and inclusion in the classroom. We've sponsored content in that app and their platform to make sure that we're investing in the right places. So be on the lookout for more programs from Google for Education in particular around creating more inclusive classrooms. There are some big initiatives happening around computer science with our CS First team, as well as our applied digital skills team, focused particularly in those efforts. So be on the lookout for more things there, and check out The Conscious Kid, which is a pretty amazing platform. The Chromebook App Hub is a very underutilized resource. Essentially what this is it is a one-stop shop of apps, extensions related to Google for Education that can be used in the classroom. You're essentially able to sort by your content area and your grade level to find any relevant material. We also have a distance learning resources page that has all the resources being made free as a result of COVID-19. So please check out the Chromebook App Hub. It's a great one-stop shop for resources that you may or may not have heard of. Also, we launched Read Along, which is an Android app that helps kids learn. It's helps kids read. So this is targeted at ages 5 and up. And essentially what it is a gamified reading application that one is very easy for kids to use, 2 is gamified and fun for kids to use, and 3 encourages them to actually like read out loud and get feedback on their reading. My cousin actually used the dog food, the early version of this before we launched it, and had great things to say about it. we're all looking for kits, for things for students to do at home these days on their own for self-guided learning. And this is a platform that we've gotten great feedback around. So check out Read Along by Google. Right now, only available on Android devices, but will be available on iOS soon. Okay. So way back when in March, we announced that 3 Meet features, premium Meet features only available in G Suite Enterprise for Education would be available to all schools. And we extended that all the way through September 30th, which is around the corner. And those 3 things were recording Meets and saving them in Drive. 2, live streaming up to 100,000 people in your domain. And then 3, up to 250 users in a Meet at the same time. So those will continue until September 30th. And then on October 1st, those will revert back to the G Suite Enterprise for Education license holders. You'll still be able to have up to 100 people in a Meet, which is still plenty. But you won't have access to those other 3. However, there are a bunch of new things coming. Sorry, one other thing is the classroom team sprinted right away, and as you saw, incorporated a Google Classroom integration with Meet. So hopefully that's fallen well in your territory, and you guys have enjoyed using the Meet integration. We know that was a much needed feature, and we launched that very quickly. So hopefully that has landed well and allowed you some better security when using Meet. Some things coming down the line right now that are just around the corner that are going to be available on G Suite for Education as well as G Suite Enterprise for Education. First is Gallery View, and this is right now you are able to have a decent amount of faces on the screen, I believe up to 16. But we are internally right now dog fooding and going to be launching in the next couple of weeks Gallery View, which will allow you to have up to 49 faces on the screen at the same time. If you guys are familiar with, what is it? Is it Tile View? Or there's an extension out there that's really great. It's going to look very similar to that and allow you to present and see more faces at the same time. 2 is intelligent quality, so low light mode. So you're going to see better, actual crisper picture on Meet, and that will be rolling out next month. Presenter experience has actually rolled out already, and this allows you to 1, share audio live, and then 2, share video with audio. Before it was very difficult to share video over Meet because the audio would be disjointed or there wouldn't be any audio at all. Now you can share a Chrome tab in order to do that, and it turns out really nicely. And then coming very soon is background blur and replace. So I was actually just using this in my prior meeting. You're actually able to blur out the whole back of the screen behind your head. Great for student and teacher privacy at home. And then also virtual background. So you'll be able to have a fun little Caribbean background, or look like you're working from a Google office, or even just your district's logo in the background. So those are coming quite soon. These will be coming, hopefully, I'm not going, what as I say this, sometime before September 30th. I know, completely specific. Our product team loves giving very specific launch dates, like sometime before September 30th. And we also know that is not the beginning of the school year. Just had to say that as a former educator. So there's 2 sets of features coming. On the left-hand side, you'll see the G Suite for Education features, including hand raising, where you'll be able to raise your hand during a meeting and it will float to the top until the teacher selects you to speak. More moderation controls, which I'll be going into a little more in depth. Digital whiteboarding, so a native integration with Jamboard, if you all are familiar with that G Suite app. So you'll be able to launch a Jam or launch a template that you've created in Jamboard directly into a Meet. Closed captions in additional languages. So you'll see closed captions for Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. And then on the right-hand side are G Suite Enterprise for Education features. So those are paid features, if you will. Better noise cancellation So if you're doing meetings next to your laundry machine, it'll actually remove that audio so that you can hear a crisper audio connection. 2, attendance tracking. So the Meet creator will have an attendance report right after their meeting of who joined, when, for how long, and if any moderator, any meeting creator actions had to be taken, like removing a student or muting a student. Breakout rooms, we know this is a really popular feature on Zoom. You'll be able to launch a specific amount of breakout rooms within the Meet. You'll be able to shuffle or place students in specific groups. You'll set your timer, and then you'll push all the students out into their groups. And then as that timer ends, it'll pull everyone back into the main Meet seamlessly. I have been able to actually be a part of the demo for that, and it's very cool and it's very seamless. Very excited about that one. And last but not least, we have worked with our Google Forms team to integrate polling and questions and answers into Google Meet. So you'll be able to upvote questions on the side with Q&A, and then live polling, kind of similar to like Pear Deck. You'll be able to throw up, I think Zoom actually has this as well. You'll be able to throw up a poll, get live results, and decide whether you want to share that with the class or not, or just be an internal, you looking at the results, and then double click in to see how respondents answered. And then what's nice about that is, as it's set up right now, you're able to extract that and export it into a Google Sheet for any grading that you might want to do after. So it could be really helpful for something like an exit slip or some kind of assessment or check for understanding. Also coming down the road, and this is on the enterprise side, is translation. So live translation, we've all seen, hopefully we've all seen how effective closed captions are in Google Meet. They're very powerful. We've all seen the power of Google Translate. So using the Translate API, we're going to be integrating that with Google Meet so that you'll be able to see live translations in Spanish, French, German, and Portuguese. Pretty exciting stuff. Also webinar improvements, which I know is probably like the most vague feature that could have been announced. When I asked for clarification on this from the team, they said more features with presenting to an external audience, meaning I'd take that to mean that external live streaming, whereas now it's just internal live streaming. And then meeting transcripts. So at the end of the meeting, getting, right now it's a Google Doc where you're able to see who said what when. So kind of think about meeting notes, or helpful for students that weren't able to join the lesson. You'll be able to have a transcript that you can share right after. And the moderation features, which frankly, I'm the most excited about. So you'll finally be able to, and this is coming to both G Suite for Education and G Suite Enterprise for Education, you'll be able to end a meeting and kick everybody out. It's the best thing ever. You won't have to wait for everyone to leave and then end the meeting. You'll just be able to say, meeting's done, see you later. Hooray. Blocking anonymous users. So anyone who isn't in your domain will automatically be blocked. You'll be able to create an allow list of who you want to be able to create, who you want to be able to join, but we know that Zoom bombing has become quite an issue, and just preventing those users from joining in the first place is just very helpful for teachers and avoids disruptions. Mute all, so the ability to say, this is going to be a one-line lesson and I'm just going to do the talking, you're going to do the listening, or just the ability to mute all for a period of time is really helpful. So that'll be rolling out. And then knocking improvements. Right now, if you're in Google Meet and you have someone trying to join from outside of your domain, it can be pretty disruptive because a pop-up comes in the middle of your screen. There's actually going to be on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll have just a queue of folks that you can admit so that it's less disruptive to your presenting experience. And then last but not least, other moderation things, you'll be able to—
I told them walk on the street. It's safer.
So you can lock down the chat. So you can say, I only want to chat, and be able to send links out. You can open up the chat, or you can lock it down and not use it at all. Same thing with presenting. And then same thing with audio as well. So if you're doing a one-way presentation where it's lecture, you can lock down the audio. So lots of new moderation features rolling out sometime before September 30th. Gmail and a Meet integration. There's also been some exciting news about Gmail, kind of becoming a little more slacky, if you will. Now you're able to launch a Meet directly from Gmail and actually move the screen around as your email. I don't know if that's rolled out to you guys, but it's been very helpful for me as I jump in meetings all day long and I'm actually in my email at the same time, looking through emails and chatting with someone. So that's a really exciting integration that launched. Another resource for you all is Teach from Home. Teach from Home was launched right after COVID-19 hit as essentially a one-stop shop for distance learning. It keeps getting updated literally every week. So take a look at those resources. There's a ton of stuff around both remote instruction, student engagement, but also like how to collaborate with other teachers during remote learning times. Just a ton of great resources in one place. So check out. Also, we've heard parent communication is tremendously hard these days. It was already challenging to have to pick up the phone and call so many parents or send so many emails. They also must have a lot of questions about what are they doing and what are they learning and how are they learning in school. So we put together a couple different one-pagers to share with parents to help with that communication. What is Google Classroom? What are Chromebooks? What's Google Meet and how is it used? Is it safe? What's G Suite for education? And finally, what are the privacy and security policies for education?
On the ground.
We've also updated Family Link.
Can Vonda mute himself, please?
Got it? Cool. So Family Link's been updated. Family Link allows parents to put into place certain policies to manage their students' Chromebooks. So if students are using personal Chromebooks at home, they're able to use this to kind of set up guidelines for their students, whether it's they can only access certain apps or during certain periods of time. So it's a really helpful way to monitor students and just make sure that they are kind of staying within the lines when they're learning online. We've also refreshed Applied Digital Skills, which is a really awesome program. Applied Digital Skills is essentially how to use G Suite to accomplish real life tasks. So in the past, it had been how to draft an effective resume using Google Docs, or how to set up a budget using Google Sheets. So we've actually done quite a bit of work on this recently with the Grow with Google team. And there's actually a part of this now that has become work certifications as well. So branching off of this, now there's actual badges that students can achieve after they've completed their Applied Digital Skills series. It's also just plug and play. So it's helpful to just assign to students and then you can track that on the teacher end. It also has a Google Classroom integration. So worth checking out, Applied Digital Skills. And I think this is the last slide and then I'll shut up and I'll answer questions you guys have. There's a great 12-part accessibility training on specifically for Chromebooks, for G Suite, on how to use those tools effectively to make learning more accessible. So there's a ton of embedded both features and policies that exist already that, I'll be honest, I wasn't even aware of until I took advantage of this resource to make learning easier for more students. With a huge equity focus right now, it is really helpful to share with special education teachers, but also all teachers should be aware of some of these things if your students are working on Chromebooks and G Suite at home. There's just so many things that were built just to enable accessibility, so worth a peek. Okay,
I did it. I somehow caught up. I'm going to take a drink of water, and I'm going to open it up for any questions you all have for me. And apologies, I talk really fast, and that was a ton of information. So feel free to tell me to go back to any slides that I went too quickly through, or yeah, any questions you guys have. I'm an open book.
Can we all please mute if we're not asking a question?
I have a question for TD. My name is Angela. I just wanted to check. So the Google Suite for Education is going to continue to be free after September 30th, but the services that come with that extra suite, the Google Enterprise. So I think we have Enterprise. Where would we know? How will we know if we have that level?
So your network administrator would probably know. You'll definitely know come October 1st whether you have it or not, because right now everyone has access to those 3 enterprise features: the recording, 100,000 live stream, and 250 users. On October 1st, those will go away, and only enterprise users will have those. So I'd say if you, oh, the other thing is unlimited originality reports. So if you have unlimited originality reports in Google Classroom, that would mean you have an enterprise license. If you only get 3, which, spoiler alert, I think we're increasing to 5. If you only get 3 or 5 runs, that means you have you just have G Suite for Education and not the enterprise license. Hopefully that helps, Angela.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi there, TD. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I teach French in the San Diego area and am very interested in being ADA compliant with the closed captions. And my concern was when I'm in French, is there captions? So I know you mentioned that there are closed captions for French and Portuguese and whatever. My question is that just for Google Suite for Education, or is that the enterprise? And will that go away, or is that existing on both platforms?
Great question. That will be part of G Suite for Education, so not the paid version. So those will be rolling out in a couple of weeks, I believe. And those will be, as you're speaking French, it'll pick up and it will show up at the bottom of the screen.
But if my district,
however, if you're speaking in English and want to be translated to French or vice versa, that is going to be an enterprise grade product.
okay, so if my district has Google Enterprise for Education, then there is not the closed captioning for French?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should clarify. You'll have both. Anything that lands in G Suite or G Suite for Education will also land in Enterprise for Education.
Thank you.
Yep, for sure.
Hi, TD. I have a question about Google Meet. I'm using it right now for first graders in summer school. And when I present a Chrome tab, I can only see like 2 or 3 of their little faces. So it's hard to connect with them and to teach and get their feedback, because is there a way to see all of them as I present a screen?
That should be improving with the gallery view, where you'll see when you're not presenting, you see less, but I believe it's set up so you'll see about 30 faces on the screen while you're presenting to kind of encapsulate a whole class. Right now, though, in the current release, you're probably only seeing 3 or 5 probably when you're presenting to your students. That should increase with this new release. I'm actually using it internally right now, and I think I see 30 heads on screen as I present my screen full screen.
Awesome. So sometime before September 30th?
Yep, sometime before September, that exact date.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, TD. I have a question. I don't know if this was covered already. I had to step away for a second, but I heard something about Google Meets not being free after September 30th. Is there a time limit, or is that just a rumor going around?
That's just a rumor.
Okay.
Good question. I'm so glad you asked that because I get that all the time. Google Meet will continue to be completely free for all G Suite for Education users. It's not going away. There actually is no time limit on. Actually, there is a time limit, but it's 300 hours. I found out actually the other day for a single Meet instance. So you'll be able to run them as long as you'd like. The only limitation will be for G Suite users versus the enterprise, your limit will be 100 participants at once versus the 250 for enterprise users. But not going away, completely free, and yeah, you'll have most of the functionality. Just some of those enterprise features you won't have access to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the confusion is coming because on the consumer side, I think there's going to be a 60-minute limit for our personal Gmail accounts. But for anyone with a G Suite for Education domain, you'll have unlimited.
Thank you.
I have a question about Google Classroom. I've had several students who try to turn work in without it being completed. And of course, that's very annoying and having to send it back and forth. Is there some sort of technology that would prevent a student from turning in a blank form to send it right back to them? Or maybe at least have the algorithm do a word count on the actual form so we can see how many words the students typed in?
Let me repeat that because it was a little hard to hear you. I think your question was about sometimes students are turning in incomplete work, and thus it kind of creates more work for the teacher to actually send it back, and it marks it as complete. Would there be a way to update the algorithm or the workflow so that it did a word count so that students wouldn't turn in an incomplete assignment? Was that the question?
Yeah, that is correct. It would be nice to have that word count.
Sorry, you coming in very faintly. I think I got the gist of it though. That I actually have heard that feedback before and passed it along as a bug. I think it is a known issue that it happens quite frequently. But if you'd like to send me any more information, my email's on the website, and I also have a feature requests form on my website at gfewithtd.com. Just go ahead and submit that, and I'll make sure I bring it up with the team again. No problem. Same thing for any folks who have ideas or any feature feedback or requests. Feel free to use my site to submit those. I meet with the product team every week to holler at them. I want to be respectful of time, even though I was late. If anyone has to drop off, no worries. I'll stick around for another few minutes just to answer any other questions folks have. But thank you so much for your time. And again, sorry for the Zoom complications. Of course, the Google Meet guy has Zoom issues. Thank you for all you do, and reach out with any questions. I'll make sure you all have access to the deck.
I have a specific question about music.
Okay.
Are there Google Classroom programs for music?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that we have. I don't know that we have a native Google Music program that exists right now. I know we have some partners that do certain things like Soundtrap, but I'm not aware of any music programs that we have built on our own.
Maybe you could look into that.
Sure. What are you looking for? Like, are you looking for like a program that would do music composition, performing music? What? I'm just curious.
Well, it's sort of across the board because, right now they don't have access to instruments or an ensemble, you know, there's a lot of things that are being done virtually with, you know, that you see all over the place. But general classroom music, things that have rhythms, things that they could work on, solfeggio, singing, all of those things, interactive things. There seems to be a lot of things that you can do with ensembles, from individual people, you know, coming on and working together, but not something that's really classroom specific or something for young learners, or all the way up to you know, to seniors in high school. You know, you can do private music lessons very easily, you know, with all kinds of different platforms. But I was thinking of other things that might be available, or resources that might be available for teaching music.
I'll pass that feedback along to the team. I don't know that we have anything in development, but I know we tend, when it comes to things like that, we tend to lean on our partner ecosystem a lot. I wonder if you could find some things on the Chromebook App Hub, actually, that might point you in the right direction. But I'll pass your feedback along to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pause my share. Or stop sharing. Any other last minute questions before I jump off and let us all go?
Thank you, TD.
Awesome. Thank you all very much.
We have another question.
Hello, one more question.
Yes.
This is from Anita. Previously, we have had Google Meets, and we were fine at the beginning, but about 15 minutes into the meeting, we would have computers freezing. Is that problem been fixed?
It should be fixed. I think I know what you're referring to, Anita. Early on, there were issues with bandwidth because so many people were using Meet at the same time. On the back end, now that we've had a chance to adapt our systems, you shouldn't experience that at all. I know, in fact, I was experiencing them as a Google employee at first. Those should be resolved now, and we've also built a tool that lets administrators actually measure the impact on their network to see if their bandwidth is okay for using Meet. And we found that 90% plus of networks are able to sustain larger meetings. So it should be resolved. If it's not, please use my site to let me know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm getting feedback because I'm not on